Hi guys, this is week 46 Project Life, and this week I am using the brand new December, I think it's called Pleasant Valley kit from Citrus Twist, and it really is gorgeous. You can see I'm loving all the cards in here. I've got a few gaps in my photos this week. Several of those photos were in my December daily album, and I didn't want to repeat too many photos, so I'm going to add a bit more journaling than I usually would. So at the moment I'm just struggling, to be honest, to choose how I'm going to fit my photos and all these gorgeous cards in here. And you'll see me shuffle these 4 3x4 cards multiple times during this process video. I couldn't quite work out how I wanted them to sit, and you'll see right till the end they end up exactly where I had them in the first place. So at the moment I'm just trying to decide how to use some of these gorgeous pattern papers in here. I wasn't super happy with that 4x6 card, and I wanted something a bit bolder for one of those 3x4 cards. So I'm just shuffling a couple of these patterns, and this is where the card shuffling happens, because I wasn't happy with those 2 pattern papers sitting side by side. It seemed super busy to me, and actually now that I look at it on video, it's not that bad. In real life I was like, oh, I don't know about those 2 patterns together, and I keep trying to swap them, but also I'm trying to balance the fact that I've got quite sort of grey. I mean, 2 are black and white, but the top photo is quite neutral. I didn't want all of those on one side and then all the colour on the other, so I was busy trying to balance that all out until in the end I said, sod it, I'll just leave it the way it was. It's not that bad, and actually it's not. Now I'm going to whiz through this, my sorting out of the millions of die cuts that always come in these packs. I just grabbed a little dish here and I'm going through them super quickly, trying not to overthink it quite as much as I overthought the card placement. I'm just picking out some of the ones that I think might work with this week's spread. Obviously I'm not going to use all of them. I'm just picking out ones that are kind of in this colour scheme, which is kind of neutral, pinks and yellows, and ones that I think I might be able to use on my actual spread here. This little tag is so cute with the cutout sweep down the bottom, and luckily it fit perfectly into my photo, the perfect place for it there. I've put the wee die cut that says sweater weather today with my hail photo, but I'm not loving it. There's not a lot of contrast. It's sort of dark on dark, so I'm just leaving it for now, but I'm planning to try and change it somehow later on. So you can see I'm not adding too many. It's literally just 1 to a few photos. I've got 2 up the top there and I couldn't decide which ones to use, so I've just left both of them for now, and in the end you'll see I end up using both of them. So here's where I swapped out the die cut for one of the wood veneers, which still said sweater weather, so it had the same sentiment, just not the same darkness. And I wondered about adding some more to the rest of the spread. You know, I like things in 3s, but actually I felt like 3 was going to be a bit overwhelming. I've got lots of sort of bits and pieces going on in the spread, so I decided to just leave it at 1. I'm going to start sticking down some photos because I feel like I'm overthinking things a lot on this spread, and you'll know that that's not my normal game plan. My normal game plan is to keep this as simple as I can, and I felt like I was getting a little bit overwhelmed by decisions. So I'm just you can see me picking things up and putting them down, and in the end I turned my camera off and went a few rounds with my typewriter. I wanted to do a bit more journaling than normal. There were this tag, the couple of journal cards, and I even managed to run that tiny little 3-strip die cut through my typewriter. It was all super difficult. I don't have a fancy typewriter. It's a super old vintage one that used to belong to my grandmother. I love it. It doesn't love having these sorts of cards shoved through it. So I usually just like stick them onto a piece of just scratch paper, sort of force it through. The thicker cards don't go too well around the sort of rounded barrel of the typewriter, so I sort of force them through. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they get a little bit crinkled. I kind of just learned to live with it. I peel them off the backing sheet, and then you could see there I had some washi tape on the back to cover up the glue. Now my camera died. You can tell this was just one of those days when nothing was going right for this process. My camera died, so I went away and had a cup of coffee and then came back once I had recharged the battery, and I'm going to carry on with my title card, which is super easy. I don't normally use these sentiment cards for my title card, but I really loved this one and it went with the colors, so I'm using it. I'm just creating sort of like a line across the bottom of it with that die cut, the label, and now I'm adding some letter stickers, and even though these are multicolored letter stickers, I'm using one color of those multis to create my title. And I had stuck it down across the line of the die cut, but I decided to lift it up and I've lined it up with the top line of the text that's actually on the card. I just want to add one tiny little puffy heart just to add that little extra bit of color, and then I can do my date stamping onto the label. So everything on the card is yellow and pink just to keep that that sort of color scheme. It's a vague color scheme this week. It's sort of neutral plus pinks, and then there are just, well, there's literally this one pop of yellow. I was going to say pops of yellow, but there's only the one. The wood grain, maybe, if you count that as yellow, but just the one. But I think it works together quite nicely. This is where I decided I would add a little bit of extra color down here. It's a black and white paper with a black and white photo. It looked a bit black and white. I didn't like the way that the tab was at the top if I was going to make a cluster down the bottom right hand corner. So I sort of ripped all that back up and it came up not too badly, and I'm just going to move that tab so it's on the side and then add my 3 little hearts here, which just adds to that cluster. You see I'll add it all pinks, and then I decided to add the extra one, which is yellow, to add just that tiny extra bit of yellow, and I think it pulls it all together really nicely. I fought a lot of battles to get this week done, my typewriter, my indecision, my camera, but in the end I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye!